And at this point, it's only a matter of time before Disney owns literally everything. So, I'm pretty sure that we could see the DCEU and MCU actually cross over once Hollywood basically becomes Mickey Wood. Judging from what James Gunn said in a recent interview, he's just as excited about the possibility as we are. James Gunn is all about doing a Marvel DC film. Even though some of his comments were taken out of context on the matter, he did say that he's reached out to both, stating he'd be open to it. The project that he name-dropped was one involving Groot and Harley Quinn. So clearly, this would be some sort of crossover between the Guardians of the Galaxy and the Suicide Squad. Honestly, this would probably be the easiest crossover of them all. If the Guardians fell into some sort of interdimensional portal to another comic book universe, which any NASA scientist will tell you happens all the time, they could find themselves in Amanda Waller's grasp. It's not hard to see a world where she implants the Guardians with those special brain bombs of hers, making them members of the Suicide Squad. They could then take characters like Harley Quinn, Bloodsport, and Peacemaker on an intergalactic mission. Frankly, I'd love to see them team up against an over-the-top sci-fi villain like Mongol. It would be fully worth the price of admission to see Idris Elba and Chris Pratt arguing over which of them is the leader, Rocket Raccoon befriending Killer Shark, or Peacemaker and Drax finding the only other person who truly understands them. Let's be honest. If we're talking about DC and Marvel crossovers, there's only one we all want to see: Justice League vs. Avengers. Both companies have arcs like Secret Wars and Crisis on Infinite Earths that lend themselves to this kind of interdimensional mayhem. In that kind of story, these two universes would come clashing together, forcing the two superhero teams to have a showdown over which one gets to remain. If we're gonna dream big, we might as well dream as big as possible. For this kind of project, you'd really want to see Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., and Scarlett Johansson join Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck, and Gal Gadot for a massive crossover. Iron Man fighting Batman while Superman takes on Thor, and Wonder Woman fights Captain Marvel. It'd probably top the famous Avengers Assemble scene in Endgame. Of course, this being a superhero movie, they'd have to fight to a draw and then team up against a much bigger supervillain like the Beyonder or the Anti-Monitor. If we wanted to tie it into the MCU's Phase 4, then why not just say that they're both just variants of Kang the Conqueror? If anyone would set the Avengers against the Justice League for funsies, it'd be Kang. The Harley Quinn solo film and the Defenders series were both less successful than everyone thought they'd be. But that being said, the Birds of Prey and the Netflix superhero team were both very entertaining. So it'd be awesome to see the two street-level superhero teams on the same side. Now, if they just merged the two universes, we could see Daredevil recruit the Birds of Prey and his old friends to take down the Kingpin once and for all. Look, anything for more Vincent D'Onofrio, okay? Now just imagine a sequence where Black Canary, Matt Murdock, Huntress, and Luke Cage are beating a group of henchmen to a pulp, while Montoya and Jessica Jones share a flask in the background. The only edit I would make is that I'd trade out Iron Fist for the Punisher. I think Frank Castle and Helena would get along really well, while literally no one wants more Danny Rand. Superhero movies are all about the nostalgia nowadays. Rumor has it that Spider-Man No Way Home will feature the Tom Holland, Andrew Garfield, and the OG Spidey, Tobey Maguire, teaming up across the Spider-Verse. Meanwhile, over at DC, Michael Keaton is suiting up as the original Batman once more. So, imagine how cool it'd be for them to combine all this nostalgia into one movie. Keaton could be joined by Bale, Kilmer, and Pattinson for the ultimate Batman team-up. They could then combine with the Spider-Man to fight a Sinister Six consisting of Batman and Spidey villains with combined powers. I think it'd be worth it just to see Tom Holland's Spider-Man freak out over all the Batmobiles. Maybe Clooney should sit this one out. To be honest, I'd rather see Lego Batman join in on the fun. DC has been dancing around doing a New Gods movie for a while now, and Marvel is about to drop the Eternals later this year. Seeing as how both were created by Jack Kirby, they would be natural franchises to cross over. Now, while I could go on and on about how cool it'd be to see characters like Metron and Orion meeting the likes of Icarus and Circe, that wouldn't be the main event. You see, both groups are related to two of the greatest comic book villains of all time, Darkseid and Thanos. I can't imagine a cooler comic book crossover than these two titans squaring off against each other to determine who the greatest intergalactic warlord is. The more terrifying possibility is that the two would like each other instead. I don't know if the combined might of both ancient races would be enough to handle that unholy friendship. So, James Gunn, as I'm sure you're watching this, feel free to take any of these projects and run with them. I just need that very, very small $10 million writing credit. No big deal, right?